Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and I am so excited to review these pencils today because I found a diamond in the rough. I've been looking at these pencils for, I think since they first came out. They've been, I think, floating around for a couple of years. They started with a smaller set of like 24 and then 36, and then they came out with a set of 72. There may be a 48 set, I'm not totally sure, but I've been able to resist. But my husband, I blame the New England Patriots for this purchase because my husband is a football fan, and there was one Patriots game on Amazon this year and you had to be a Prime member to see it. And so I decided to subscribe to Prime. They gave me a deal. It was like half off Prime for 3 months. So I'm like, what the heck, I'll try it. And these are like 10 bucks cheaper if you're a Prime member. So these sell for about $45 for a set of 72. Still, that's a great price, but it's $35 if you're a Prime member. And of course, I refused to pay $45 for them, knowing that they were $10 cheaper when I eventually, you know, caved and got Prime. Every once in a while, I get a free, there'll be like a free 30-day or free week or whatever, and I'll cave. So yes, I purchased this set with my own money, and I'm actually really glad I did. So let's take a look at these. It comes in this tin. This tin reminds me a lot of like Artisto and Arteza, those square 72 piece tins. We've got full color printing on all sides of the box. Soft pastel colored pencil, soft touch, premium expert. And that's something we see those ratings in Arteza products. And somebody told me that Kalour pencils, Brute Funer, Arteza, a bunch of others are made by a particular stationery company in China. And I am not sure because they have different, like, not that I doubt that this person's intel is incorrect, but like I noticed, like with Arteza, they have several lines of pencil. Brute Funer has several different qualities of pencil. I've only tried the Kalour macaron colors of color pencil, which are fantastic. They're kind of like the Holbein pastel dupes, and they're exactly the same as the Brute Funer macaron colors. I enjoy them. I have one set down here in my studio and one set up in my a fun art desk that's by my balcony that I go outside and paint on in the summer. Very, very pleased with that. I haven't tried their full color ones because I figured they'd probably be very similar to Arteza. They look so much like Arteza, which I have nothing against them. I just don't need any more of those. So what they say on the back is Kalour PDAS brand. I'm not sure what the PDAS, I think it might mean like private label, something, I don't know. Soft core lead, 72 unique vibrant colors, suitable for precision coloring and filling. Ideal for drawing. I have my progressives on. I should put my reading glasses on, actually. Even though progressives are supposed to do that too, I don't really find I find I see much better with my reading glasses. 1 week into my manicure, they're still holding up. I'm so impressed. Apollo Salon in Waterville. My sister got me a gift certificate for my birthday. I got to give a shout out. Professional grade artist quality colored pencils, unsurpassed lightfast and acid-free quality pigments. Acid-free, I believe. Lightfast, I'm not so sure about. Artist quality colored pencils for every level of experience. Smooth color laydown, yes. Superior blending and shading, yes. Vast color range with number and color name for easily recognize. Google Translate did not do their best work on this one. We will take legal action against any infringement or unauthorized reproduction or any portion of it. Oh, whoa, they're not playing. They're not playing. How do you infringe a copyright of a pastel pencil? I do not know. I do not know. And how have they not? Oh boy, designed in the USA, manufactured in the People's Republic of China. It's an American company. This looks so much like the Artistro and Arteza like branding there. It makes me wonder if maybe these are all owned by the same company, although Arteza just sold to Plaid Crafts, so I don't know. I assume it's probably just what they offer for printing in that factory. Complies to European Safety Standard EN 71, ASTM International Standards Worldwide. That would be more of your safety thing than lightfast ratings. It doesn't have the ASTM seal on it that I see, though. But they're able to sell it on Amazon, so. Warning, this contains small parts. Please keep away from children, which I would say with any art supply, I would definitely keep them away from children unless you're supervising them or they're specifically designed like choke-free, chemical-free, non-toxic, that sort of thing. It does say non-toxic here, though. Okay, beautiful printing. I love the wood duck on there. It does look like it was possibly done with these pencils. I would say they probably were, because these are really nice. I'm very impressed with them. So opening up the tin, we have a color chart printed on the inside of the box, which is nice because if you're, you know, trying to find a color here, you won't lose it if you keep your pencils in the tin. As you can see, I have sharpened some of these. Some of them I've sharpened with a sharpener, but in general, I've sharpened them with a knife just because I waste less. Because see, what I can do here with my knife is I can just whittle away the wood. I don't generally need a really sharp pencil, but when I am coloring with a pencil, I do try to, you know, rotate it as I go to kind of taper the wood. But what I'll often do is I'll take a wet brush with just water. You could use alcohol, but water is fine. And I will just kind of smooth the pigment on the edge of a shape. Now I'm going to show you a piece of artwork before we get too into the weeds here, just so that you can see what you can create with just the pencils and nothing else. I did this painting yesterday, and just on edges where I wanted a sharper edge, all I did was just used a wet brush, just plain old water here. And what I found also, because my water jug, let's say I have 2 water cups here, I found that it mostly just pushed the pigment around on the paper. I didn't really dirty my water too much, so that was really good. But I didn't use it in too many places. I did go in areas where I wanted to put more layers down, where I was having a trouble getting detail, like in the details on the figs here. I went in and I wet the entire area to lock down the darker colors, and I went back in with the white for the details. And I just used the white pastel pencil here for my highlights, a white and a light blue for the light. And yeah, you definitely can do a full painting with these pastel pencils with no issue. This is, I would say, this is 8 by 10. Is it 8 or 7 by 10? About 7 by 10. Sennelier Le Carte Mixed Media pastel paper. And I did let a lot of the blue show through, so this denim-y blue color is the color of the paper, so I use that to my advantage. And I will have a time lapse of this on my channel for anybody that's interested in how I created this, but they were an absolute pleasure to use. They were so nice. I enjoyed them so much. And my first actually using of these was just, I got them and they came in Amazon. They came in one of the craft envelopes, but they were fine. They were all fine. But when I first got them, I started swatching the colors on just the craft envelope, and I was like, wow, these are very pigmented. They're very soft. I was very impressed. I'm going to show you the color chart that comes with it, which is on smooth cardstock. So it does not, this is on smooth cardstock, which does not, you know, show pastel pencils to their best advantage because, you know, smooth paper isn't going to hold that much, but look at how vibrant these are. I was so impressed. I didn't, you know, I just quickly swatched them. I just want to show you this so you can see the variety of colors. We have some colors that are kind of similar. I feel like our yellows, we've got a white. I did put black on that swatch just to scribble the white on. We have like a really pastel yellow, which they call soft beige for some crazy reason. There are lightfast ratings on here, but honestly, I'm not really believing them, because look at that mauve color. That is a color that you would have to pay big bucks for a light fast pencil in that color. It's just one of those neon-y colors that is very difficult. They're giving that a 5 light fast rating. The walnut brown's getting a 5 light fast rating. The Van Dyke brown's getting a 5 light fast rating. I would believe the browns and the earth tones to have that, like raw sienna, yeah, I would believe that would have a 5 light fast rating. But for mauve deep to have a 5 light fast rating, even for like Sakura pink to have a 4 light fast rating, I just don't quite buy it. So that's my only con on this set, is that I don't trust the light fast ratings, just from what I know about pigments and how expensive it is to get light fast, purely light fast color pencils. It's pricey, especially for certain colors. So I'm kind of gonna weigh that with a grain of salt, because I don't buy that the light fast rating is correct. But these colors are stunning. So I just want to go through and look at these, like the scarlet, vermilion, and Bengal red, and also grenadine red. Those are so very similar that on one hand, there's no open stock ability to buy these pencils, which, okay, that is the other con. No light fast, no open stock ability, but if you use up one of these reds, use the others. They're so similar. And we do have an aubergine that's almost like a really deep burgundy color, more than like what I think of an eggplant color. So you have that for shadows. You also have this color, Tickle Magenta, which is just such a cute name, which is a nice dark red color. I love red. I like to do a lot of florals, so it's nice to have these colors. But generally what I'm using pastel pencils for is just little accents on things. Like, let me show you this other painting I did using them, but I use them with stick pastels. I use them with the Soho stick pastels. Let's see, maybe I'll zoom out just a smidgen here. But I use these for like the details on the posts here. I use them, actually I used a pastel stick for that. They were just for edges, just for details. They worked really well with the pastels here. No complaints. And that's how I generally will use them, or I'll use them to add a little highlight on a watercolor. And I don't think we'd run into really any issues using this to augment a pastel painting, because you're generally going in there to get an edge or get a detail, and it's not the breadth of your painting. But I did want to do that full painting with the pastel pencils, just so you can get an idea of seeing how they will work as a sole medium. Because, you know, as we're building our stashes, you know, you're probably choosing a pastel pencil, and you're, you know, like, okay, I want something that is going to work for me. I want something that I can do a full painting with if I want to. I wouldn't go too big with a pastel pencil, but this was so much quicker than doing like a colored pencil of this scene. It did take me a couple hours, but I was doing it while I was on a Zoom, you know, kind of crafty party with some friends. So, I wasn't super focused. You know, I wasn't like trying to do it quickly, but the colors blended really well. The colors layered really well. Really, I have no problems here. So this is what the pencils look like, and I'll show you sharpening them. Now I have a pastel pencil sharpener, a handheld sharpener, but the knives worked a lot better. You can see how thick the leads are though. Take a look at this. Look how thick those are. They've got to be like a 4mm. I wonder if it says, I don't know if it says on the box, but that's a really nice chunky lead. And they are going to be, they're pretty soft. I'm actually surprised at how soft they are. They do have the wood casing protecting them, but I didn't have any breakage issues despite the fact they were shipped to me in a Amazon envelope mailer. Obviously, I didn't sharpen them all. I didn't have to sharpen them all, but we'll just do a little sharpening demo for you here. I've done it before in videos, but I know that you may not necessarily see the video. This is a fairly new blade. I just changed it yesterday. Let's find one that needs to be sharpened. Let's do one of these. Let's do one of these reds. So when I'm sharpening these, I know I'm probably not the best at this just because I don't, if I have a lot that need to be sharpened, I just go over to my husband's wood shop and I use the belt sander, and I just grind them down. I just hook the little shop vac up to the feed there. And I do this over the trash can because these go everywhere. I can't get them in the ashtray very well, but I just whittle it down till I get to the wood. Till I get to the pigment. And then I stop. The chalk is what really kills your blades. It's very dulling. I don't know why. Or I guess I should say the pastel, which could be a combination. It's a combination of pigment, binders, and clay or chalk. There, look at that. It's very easy to sharpen and reveal that beautiful thick lead. And then if I want to use a sharpener, I have a couple of these. I probably need to grab a new one. Actually, nah, we're fine. But you just sharpen them as usual. I never sharpen these in an electric sharpener because it never works out well. It always tends to kill the sharpener. Yeah, this needs to be sharper. I'm gonna go grab a fresh sharpener just so we can try that out. I got a brand new pastel and charcoal sharpener here, so I'm just going to see if we can get a good point. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm going to toss those other two old ones because they are done. And these are German blades, Derwent pastel and charcoal sharpener made in Germany. Really, those work really great. I want to sharpen another one actually. That's so nice. Let's maybe sharpen this black one. I did whittle it down, but that's one I like to have sharp. I like to have my black sharp. Let's see. Hopefully I didn't, because I know I'm not very good at doing the knife. Oh yeah, that sharpened it fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, they sharpen great. The use of them is wonderful. The quality is great. The only downsides I can say is that there is lightfast information, but I don't quite buy it. There is no pigment information, which I'm not surprised because these are a budget product. These are $35 for 72 colors at the current, if you're an Amazon Prime member, or 45. So, you know, you're looking at about 50 cents a pencil. You know, you're not going to have pigment information or open stock availability, but use-wise, these are just wonderful. So what I want to do now is compare these with some of the other pencils that I have. And I've just got some craft paper here I'm going to use because, you know, why waste? I have a bunch of that. And, you know, a lot of us are using cardstock craft paper. We're maybe not using the more pricey stuff, especially if we are, you know, kind of buying budget supplies. I'm going to show you how I have my other pastel pencils. Yes, did I need more pastel pencils? No. Did I want more pastel pencils? Yes. And also, a lot of the pastel pencils I have are no longer available. So one of the pastel brands that I really loved was the VanGogh line of pastel pencils. So they are, I think they may be available in Europe, but they're not available in the United States. They're very soft. They're very beautiful. Now let's see how that compares with Kalour. Let's see. I think I have a similar color. This color looks kind of similar. Let's try this. But that's the thing. Every brand has their own color palette. So, oh, just beautiful. Just beautiful. I love it. Yeah, every color has its own color palette. So I will probably, if I have room in my little carousel, I'll put them in there. I'll put them in there tip up like I have the others. The only downside, honestly, if I had my druthers, would be if they had the whole body of the pencil colored. You know, I prefer a pencil like this that has the whole body of the pencil colored. When Van Gogh came out with their pencils, they had watercolor, pastel, and colored pencil, and then the ends, like the colored pencil were blue, the pastel pencil were yellow, and I don't know what the watercolor pencils were because I didn't have those because I already had Derwent watercolor pencils, so I had some modicum of restraint back then, probably my wallet, and I wasn't a YouTuber, but yeah, beautiful. Let's take another bright, let's do a more brighter color. I think the Kalours might be a little bit more, maybe their color palette might be a little bit more muted. They're not the same as Van Gogh, so I'm really happy about that. I'm happy they're a little different. And I just encourage you to store your supplies however you want to use them. Yeah, those are going to go so good together, and they're not the same. I'm so glad they're not the same colors. Let's try some pipped pastels here. These are by Faber-Castell. Those feel a little bit firmer, but also let's do, these feel drier and harder. And let's see, is that a Faber-Castell? Yeah, I don't like the feeling of those quite so much, but I probably can keep a sharper point on those. So, yeah, that's why I keep them all together, because these feel softer. I don't know how interesting this in-depth look. Yeah, see how close those reds are in color. But then again, it could be a red thing, because it does feel like the reds might be a little bit firmer. Let me see if I have a pit pastel in the green range. I probably do. Oh, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. Not really. Is this one? Oh, no, that's a Nione. Oh, let's try the Nione, which is the Paul Rubens. Those feel a little bit firmer too. I only have like kind of portrait colors in those, but I like those. I like them quite a bit. And this Generals. I like Generals a lot too. They're made in the USA. Look how bright, white, and opaque that Generals pencil is. I recommended that for my for my class, we needed a white pastel pencil for my line and wash class. I think the Generals is more opaque. Generals is really nice. Let's see. Generals also has the barrel that is, that's a Nione. No, that's a Pitt. Now that gray feels softer. That Pitt gray feels softer. So let's try gray. Let's do that one we just sharpened. The grays feel about the same. So it's all in that kind of, that ballpark. I think Generals is a wonderful option for pencils. Let's try Derwent. Derwent is a little firmer. Kind of similar to the Pitt Pastel. Oh, I also want to try CarbOthello, because CarbOthello is a favorite. CarbOthello, nice. And I like how they're kind of like the Van Gogh, they're all colored down the barrel. Oh, that's Van Gogh. Once I get them all in together, once I get the review done and I can put them all together, that'll be nice because they're just easier for me to use that way. There's a Stabilo CarbOthello. They're very pigmented. Let's see how these compare in pigmentation on similar colors. I think the CarbOthello are still a little bit softer than the Kalour. The Kalour remind me a lot of Van Gogh, which is just a touch firmer, and then the Faber-Castell and Derwent are firmer than that. And the Generals, I really need to find more Generals. I know I have a few more in here. There's a Generals. Now see, this Generals Peach feels very firm, but the Generals White felt very soft. Yeah, Derwent's a little bit harder. But the Derwent, I'd probably I would trust the pigment information on the Derwent more, or I would trust the light fastness on the Derwent more just because they've been around for so long. That Royal Talons feels very soft. Then again, the Royal Talons and the CarbOthello feel very similar too. I wonder, where is Stabilo? That's made in Germany, isn't it? And Royal Talons is Holland. I always wonder that, like, does location matter? Are there certain what's the Generals? Are there certain factories or that use similar supplies, or maybe are the same in different regions of the world? Let's try this one. The Generals doesn't seem quite as vibrant as the Kalour. Alright, so just looking at the brands that I have, which, you know, I've got a few brands. I've got plenty, that's for sure. I would say, out of all of these, I would rate the CarbOthello the softest, then kind of a tie between Van Gogh and Kalour. Then I would say Generals and Nione are probably the next firmer, and then Faber-Castell and Derwent are the most firm. I also have some, I have a Conte. Let's try the Conte. That one feels harder. I think I also have a Color in here somewhere. Oh, look at that old vintage Derwent pastel pencil. But actually, that vintage one feels softer. I think it, varies by color, so take this with a grain of salt, because if I have one color from one brand that happens to be a more, a more firm brand, a firm one, like this is that same color, I think, in a more modern one, and it seems about the same. This is one I sharpened on the bench grinder when I do my spa day, when I do my pencil spa day. Wear a mask. Wear a mask if you do that. I was just thinking if there's any other brands in here. Oh, this is a tinted charcoal from Derwent. It feels very similar to the pastel, I would say. But I like how the color families, how they're all a little bit different. So I can group all these together, use them together, and I've got this really nice variety of colors. But yeah, these are wonderful. I don't think they're quite as vibrant as the CarbOthello maybe, but very, very close. They do a beautiful job, and I would highly recommend them for anyone looking for an affordable set of pastel pencils. I'm not sure about well, CarbOthello does have lightfast ratings on them. It's a star system like the Kalour. Yeah, I mean, you could always do your own lightfast testing and see what you end up with. But I'm very happy with them. And if you're looking to get maybe you want to try pastels, but you just don't like the dust on your hands, you want something less messy, these would be a good option for you. Or if maybe you're a pan pastel artist and you want something to just crisp up the edges or to sketch with before you go in with your sticks, this is a good option. I'm so impressed with them, and I'm really glad I picked these up. I'm going to put them in my trolley, my little turntable with all my other ones for now, because that's how I like to use them. But I'm super pleased with this purchase, and I hope this review helped you decide whether they are right for you. I like them just as well as any other brands that I have, and just comparison-wise, I would put them similar to the CarbOthello or VanGogh if you have the old VanGogh pencils, and softer than a Pitt pastel and a Derwent pastel if that's something that you are interested in. And they're all good brands. I can't pick favorites. I just have to say that, and I don't have the Caran d'Ache pastel pencils, and I've tried the Sennelier woodless ones. They were quite a bit harder than all of these mentioned here, which isn't my preference. So you may, if you like a harder pastel pencil, you know, go with a Derwent, go with a Faber-Castell, go with the new Sennelier pastel pencils. But if you like something that is softer, then I think these would be a good fit for you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoy my reviews. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!